I'm so stoked. I saw Deicide was playing recently and with no mask or anything. Like I saw that. I reached right out and I'm like, how was the show? They're like, this was the best thing ever, man. Like it was one of our best sets. So
Awesome. Yeah. Unfortunately, I missed it, because I know it was right down the road from me, and I know the inhuman condition guys really well, Taylor and Jeremy yeah. So unfortunately, I didn't go, but yeah, seeing what a success it was, and nobody wearing masks, all that kind of stuff, it was pretty
it was like
pretty cool.
freedom, man. Freedom.
Yeah, which is cool. And then I would imagine everyone was just happy to be that way too. Wow, going to a show and it's just exactly, a small bar, freedom like that. No masks, just go nuts, and the way it used to be. It's
Exactly.
seems like it's been 10 years. And it's only been a little over a year. It's crazy.
Exactly. All right. So I'm gonna pop right into the ideas I had.
Cool.
So you know, the first thing I had in mind, so I'm starting a fanzine recently, and I wanted
Nice.
to see your opinion on, how important do you think college radio and fanzines were back when Cannibal Corpse like emerged?
Oh, that was huge, man. That's pretty much all there was back then, in
Right.
the 80s and then the 90s, of course, But I remember in those days, pre Cannibal, with our other bands, Tyrant Sin, Beyond Death, all that in the Buffalo scene. We used to go on the college radio. There was a big one in Buffalo, WBNY,
Right.
and they played the heck out of the underground music, which was huge in the scene. I know that was definitely a big part of the Buffalo scene, and the same as fanzines. Exactly. How else did you get your information, especially from the underground?
Right.
Obviously there wasn't that many mainstream magazines, anyways, dealing with metal and all that, but yeah, nothing was obviously dealing with the extreme stuff. So it was, both mediums were amazing for the scene and for the underground, and for bands like us, and the extreme music that was out there in all different genres to be exposed, and to for the fans to read about and learn about. So it was, very, very huge, monumental,
Now,
in the early days. Yeah.
now, as for like a fanzine, do you remember any editors like in specific that you're like, I gotta buy his like every month or whenever they did it?
I unfortunately wasn't one of those guys. I
No.
mean, we did a lot. I don't think I ever really needed to. We of course obtained them, the ones that we were in. Hey, do an interview, you get the fancy. But personally, I was never a guy that, I need to go get this fanzine or that fanzine. I wasn't that guy.
Right on.
It's yeah, I know there was a lot of people, I'm sure, that were, but I wasn't that guy.
So I'm gonna assume your answer, but I just want to see your reaction. How much do you miss that time period where everything was like discovered physical? And I mean like records, CDs. I mean everything is just going digital nowadays, and I'm just curious on your reaction and thoughts on that.
Oh, it was huge. It was a what a time to be in, what a time to grow up in and be a fan of music. And I always talk about this, if it's ever brought up, about just how lucky I was, and people my age, the band or whatever, that growing up in the 80s like that as a teenager, and just at that right place at that right time, to be kind of growing with the scene and the changes in music, and especially in heavy metal, of course, like on a daily basis. But it was awesome. What a great thing that was. I mean, it was such an exciting time, going to the record store and just right seeing an album there and going, wow, who the hell is this?
Right.
And then you wouldn't even have heard the band, or not even know what they sound like, and you're going to go just out of strictly what the cover looked like, the picture on the back of the band, the song titles. You would buy it. And we probably, well, we did most of our buying that way. And 80% of it was obviously very, very good. They were bands that ended up being the bands that were the classics. It was crazy, but very exciting. No, I miss those times. I
Yeah.
mean, unfortunately, in this day and age, yeah, you're a young kid or whatever, teenager for the most part. It's not the way it's going to get done ever. So
Right.
I'm very happy to have grown up in that time and to have experienced finding new music that way. And then, like I said, it was all new music in the sense of the scope was changing on a daily basis. Like, just think of how everything happened so quick in the 80s there, from the early 80s to to the mid 80s to the late 80s, and in a relatively short amount of time. So much changed in extreme music and heavy metal, so it was exciting, man. Very exciting.
Right on. Yeah, I'm 21, so like I was like right on the cuff, right? Like I wish I was like 10 years younger.
Yeah, that's sorry. You should add. I got lucky. I mean, I know that you can't. Whenever you're born, you can't. There's nothing you can do about that. So I definitely, like I said, I really feel lucky of growing up when I did, and to be able to experience those things. So
Right on. So I wanted to bring it home how you brought up Buffalo. Me, I live in Buffalo right now.
oh, no kidding. Oh, no,
So
awesome. I didn't know that. Awesome, man. Well, there you go. We've come full circle.
yeah. So I met you somewhat. I mean, it was like a meet and greet at the House of Guitars.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know. Like time is lost at this point, but
What was just me there, right?
it
Or
was
was it?
just you.
Yeah, it was just a couple of years ago then, because I did that D drum meeting when they had that drum kind of thing going on. Yeah, and it wasn't that long ago then. It would have been maybe 4 years ago, maybe at most, something like that. So
So I gotta ask, what is your favorite part about going to the House of Guitars? Like for me, like you just get lost in the place. Like
yeah. Oh, that's the whole thing. I mean, it's just amazing that that store still exists in that way, like it's just so disheveled and just so it's like finding lost treasures or buried treasures, I mean, things that have been there for years, guitars and drums and albums. I mean, it's amazing. You can spend days in there, and never find everything or see all the, the things that they have to offer. So, I've only been there a couple of times. It's been a long time. I mean, that time going, when you're talking about, can't even remember the time before that. We used to go a little bit more so when we were living in Buffalo back in the day, but it was, it's hard to pull some memories out of that. All I do know is that what a great place. I mean, yeah, what an amazing store. I mean, and if you're into music and instruments, and you're in Rochester, you have to go to the House of Guitars. I mean,
that's what like got me. That's what got me into this whole like music thing. Like my
so nice.
father was like, "Hey man, let's go here," and I would just spend the day, and I'd be like, I'd go home, and I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna practice, man. I gotta buy one of them guitars."
But that's the way to do it, man. Yeah, no, that's a good inspiration. Definitely, it's an inspirational store. It's got everything, so that's great.
Have you come across? I mean, you've been around the freaking world. Have you been across any music stores like that?
Not really. That's what I said. It's kind of very unique. I mean, everything's a little bit more kind of organized, I guess. That's what, so I was getting at how it's just like, it just seems like there's no rhyme or reason to the place. It's just amazing that way. There's, it's been a long time it's crazy being a long time being in record stores. I mean, we used to do a bunch of in stores back in the early 90s and all that. And they seem few and far between these days. But I don't think there's anything like the House of Guitars that a store like that I've ever been in. I
That
mean,
is
and it's great
awesome to
that it's got
hear.
everything. Yeah, it's great that it's got everything too, not just music, not just instruments, because usually it's one or the other. So the fact that they got everything like
Or
that
like
is,
they have both, but the one's just kind of 80% 20. You know what I mean?
yeah,
80/20,
yeah,
like
true.
half-assed.
Yeah, true. And it's cool. Like when we met that time, you're talking about how they were having like drum clinics going on in there. I mean, that's a whole nother thing. It's a music store. I mean, okay, it can happen in some, the bigger music stores, I guess, would do that. But the fact that they have things like that happening is just, it's an amazing place. You have to go. Yes.
You gotta go. All right. So on to the new album. Holy crap, man.
Cool.
I was taken away. Like I was when I listened to it, I'm like, this is I listened to like three, and then I'm like, all right, I gotta hold this for the gym. And I'll tell you, I never worked out so hard
Nice.
than when I got a hold of that thing. So
Nice.
my question is, what are some things that Cannibal always tries to experiment with getting in the studio? Like, there's always one thing that you got the foundation all the time of Cannibal Corpse, but what are you always kind of nitpicking and trying to experiment with?
It's a tough question. I mean, we don't really try to overthink too much. I think, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you just want to go in there and do the best job you can do, for the songs that are given. For me personally, of course, I mean, I'm just trying to better myself, and I think that's apparent on this record.
Oh
And,
yeah,
and
oh
I've
yeah.
been working on my stuff in the last 10 years, big time. And I think, like, in the last, say, 4, 5 releases, since probably Torture, where it's really stepped up, and I've been honing in and just trying to fine tune and get better and do little things and all those. So, I mean, that's just a constant, obviously, not battle, but, kind of what I'm trying to attain, as I go here. You just really, I guess, every time you get in there, you just maybe a little more focused on detail, because you always look back at records
Oh
that you've done
yeah.
over the past, and you don't got a lot of time to do records, but you look back and you're going, man, I wish I would have done that, or oh, I wish I would have done this differently, or I say, yeah, it's good, it's great, I like it, everyone likes it, that's fine, but always something you thought maybe you could have done differently or a little better, or maybe if I tried something. And I think I've learned, and to not accept that, to go, no, I'm going to lay down everything that I want to lay down,
And then just sit
or,
back and sit on it.
yeah, and work on things and go, when I walk away from that, there's nothing beyond the record or anything I did that I go, like I was just saying, I wish I would have done that or tried that. I really I really focus on getting that together, and then getting it down for the songs. And I think that's come with experience, and all that. And the more we're in the studio, like I said, just as time goes on, and, I guess it's just a matter of, getting older and just getting wiser, so to say, and just getting more meticulous in what you're putting down under the record. So for me, it's just, it's working on those things and making sure, I can walk away from, and hear an album like Violence and go, man, yeah, that, people
No
say
shit,
that,
that's
yeah,
me.
I mean, I can say I'm really 100% happy with it, and like I said, I'm happy with all the releases, but, you're always going to have those, like I said, early on, those, looking back, those decisions, or just those thoughts in your mind, like, so I think those are pretty much, those days are done. So that's good.
Hell yeah. That's a perfect answer. I totally agree with you there. I can hear it. I mean, I'm just blown away on the amount of albums Cannibal Corpse has released. And like in my opinion, there's no album that's just like, Metallica did a Saint Anger. Everybody's like, that album, it just sticks
Right.
out.
Right.
Cannibal Corpse is just stays consistent, man. And I love it.
Awesome, man. Well, I think that's why we have such a following and our longevity, and all that kind of a thing, why we're still around here, because people know what to expect from Cannibal. We got a great fan base. We got the best fan base in the world, and they know what to expect. They're not going to get anything but utter brutal death metal, and then we're going to try to make it sound as best as possible. Exactly. There's not going to be any experimentation going on with, like, the mixes and things of that nature. I
Right.
mean, maybe there's better mixes than others, but you're always just striving to make a brutal, heavy record. So
Yeah.
I think that's key. And that's, like I said, what's kept us along. And our fan base knows what they're going to get with Cannibal Corpse, and that's huge.
Yeah. All right. So this could be a heavy question or an easy question for you. With Cannibal Corpse being such this like brainchild, it's achieved so much. What is top of mind when you go, what's next? Like, what haven't you achieved that you're trying to do?
Yeah, that's, it's tough. We've done it so much, more than we've ever would have imagined with this band. Of course, I
Right.
mean, we would have never thought we'd be here, right, talking about our 15th record, 32 years in, and been able to tour in the world, all those kind of things. I mean, it's just been a dream come true, and it's beyond our dreams. So to me, it's just really about just keeping it going. I mean, if it ended tomorrow, we can look back and say, hey, we had a great career here. We had a great run. We made it 32 years, put out 15 records, and we're arguably the heaviest, death metal band or whatever, biggest one in the world, right? So I think we can be all happy with that and walk away. But at this point, exactly, we just take it day by day. And I don't think there's there's really no goal. I don't think at this point. I mean, we've done it. We've done our things here. I mean, just keep doing what we do, because I would like to be known exactly when it's done as being right, a band that was brutal to the end. We did it our way. Hey, if we were popular for whatever, in the mind's eye and pop in the society's eye, it's because we're just Cannibal Corpse here. We're a brutal death metal band. That's
Yeah.
it. We did it our way. So I think I think it's just taking it day by day, and because like I said, who knows? I obviously we're more at the end of our careers than at the beginning. That's just that's just fact at this point. So let's just have fun, make the most of it, and just keep doing it while we can, I guess.
Keep kicking ass and taking names.
And
That's what
that's
I
right.
say.
Well, that's all we can do, and we feel good. We still feel like we have it in us, obviously, and we'll just keep doing it. And like I said, one day it'll have to come to an end, but we can, like I said, look back, and we'd be very happy with the band achieved and what we've done with our career.
Right on. Yeah, I had a similar answer from Blake from Pig Destroyer, and he just said like he doesn't know what he'd do without it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he's done it for so long, like it would drive him insane, you know.
Oh, it's weird, man. We've been doing this, for so long, right? I was your age when the band started. Now, picture yourself being 53 years old, which I'm about to become, and that's all I've been doing this whole time, right? This has been my livelihood, and it was your dream when you were a teenager and you're starting out playing and all these things. So it would be, what else is there? What else is there? This is what I do, so this is what we do. So it would be very strange not being able to do that or have that. But, I guess we'll cross that bridge, when it comes at some point,
Right on. So I asked this curveball question. I've been asking it recently with the pandemic and stuff. And how would you define the word success? Like however
Yeah.
you'd say it.
Yeah, I mean, just I think if being truly happy with what you do, I mean, you got to be happy with life and who you are as a person, just to be, yeah, I think that's success. If you can be happy with who you are as a person, and that's huge. But of course, what you do for a living, that's another thing. So many people are miserable in what they do because they just, well, I have to do this, I have to make money, I have a family, and I don't like what I'm doing, but it pays the bills, all those things. But are you happy? So I mean, I think we've luckily got the success from doing something we love to do. I mean, that's that's huge to me. Just and then just being, like I said, happy, just trying to be a good person, a good, at this point for myself, being a good father. If I can,
Right on.
if my daughter can be raised and she ends up being a good person and all that, and whatever, then that's success right there. Because I don't think what else is there in life. It's those kind of basic things. So, but yeah, I mean, you gotta be happy, do the best you can, and just try to be the best person you can be for the world and for your family and all that kind of stuff.
Perfect answer. Jeff Becerra said being a dad. And
Yeah,
I thought
there you
the second he said that, I'm like, I'm asking this question every
go.
fucking interview. Like this is awesome.
No, it's a great question, and I think, and Jeff's a wise man there because, right, that's it. What else is there? Especially, right, when you have children. I mean, you just want to be a good father, and and hope you've done the best you can to raise your children to be, good people. So,
Right on. Perfect. That was awesome. So the rise in these old school death metal bands, right? Um, what advice could you give them? Like, I've seen so many bands emerge within the last 5 years, and I'm just kind of curious on what your take is. Do you think they should stick to the roots, or should they branch out? Or
well, really, what you tell anybody that plays music, or really anything, it comes down to what is similar to what we were just talking about is, you just got to be true to yourself. Really, you got to love what you're doing. If you love what you're doing, then that's all that matters. If these bands truly love playing that, then there you go. Then they won, because that's so huge, especially in being a creative force like that, being a musician. You can't force it. You can't do it for the wrong reasons.
yeah,
It's just not good. I don't think that's healthy. I mean, you're just you want to play music because you love that music, and not for any other reason. Well, what's going to make me the most money? What's going to give me the most success or give me the most fame or whatever? You can't look at it that way. You got to truly love what you do. You have to have that passion, and that's all I can say to anybody, and no matter what they do in life. If you have that passion, go for it, follow it. At least you got to try, because if you don't try, you may look back later in life going, oh, what if?
damn, I should have done
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Now, do it while you can, or try to. Anyways, not everyone's going to succeed, but you have to give it a try. But yeah, just stay true to yourself. That's so key. And if success comes from that, it really will. You'll be the happiest person. You'll be the happiest people. And I think that's why we're, like I said earlier on in the question before, right? We started playing music because we love to play music, because we love
Yeah.
this kind of music. It wasn't any other reason. Sure, you always have in the back of your mind, wow, wouldn't it be great to go on tour and have albums? Yes, of course. But that's not your goal. Your goal is to, man, I'm having a great time playing this music that I love with my friends, and let's just keep on just focusing on writing another song and just getting better as musicians. And this is what we really truly love to do. Hey, if you're in as a fan, great. If you're not, oh well, we don't want you. We don't need you. We're doing it for ourselves, basically.
Right.
If anyone wants to come along for the ride, then jump aboard. All the better. So yeah, the fact that we've done what we've done, that's why it's amazing to us, because we've lived our dream of playing what we wanted to do, would be the band we wanted to be, and have that success is just like incredible. What an incredible feeling that is, to know, like, we said earlier, or I said, we did it our way. We did it the way we wanted to do what we wanted to do. And when you get that, when you have that success from those reasons, man, it's a great feeling, that you can feel like you've accomplished something. You can be happy. You can probably, probably die happy, so.
Right on. That is a great answer. Dying happy is, I've been told, health and happiness.
That's
Uh,
it. It's so simple, so cliche, but it is so true.
um, yeah, it's just so weird talking about this stuff to metal people. I have many people that I'm around. They look at my shirt and they go, "You're a fucking pissed off person, man. You must hate the world and you must
Right.
hate everything about it." But
Yep.
that's the exact opposite, because some of the nicest people I've ever met
Yep.
listen to this type of music.
Yeah, yeah, you're true. It's so true. I mean, we're liking this music because of the music. I mean, sure, the imagery goes along with it and all that, but you are so correct on that. I'd say 98% of all metal fans, death metal fans, all that, they're just normal people, good people. They just, right. We like this extreme form of music. Metal is so powerful that way. Where it grabs you, and sucks you in, and it doesn't matter really about the subject matter. I mean, that's kind of secondary. Of course, it goes hand in hand, but it's a form of entertainment here. Right? We're not serial killers and murderers and all that kind of stuff. We're not evil people, because
It just goes with the music. You can't
exactly.
sing about I I don't
Yeah,
listen. I don't dive deep into lyrics, man. Like if I
right,
did, I feel like I would be
right.
insane because
Yeah,
death metal is just it's like a horror movie. It's
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. Totally, totally.
if people can't get that by now, I don't know what I don't
Oh
know.
no, that's why, I guess just because it's music and it seems more real to people because it's actually, I don't know, like a couple individuals, they can go and see them live. And it is crazy that people would even think that, but unfortunately, right, you're going to get that book, the cover, the book read by its cover kind of a thing. And, the people that just don't understand it, they're just not going to get it. And they're going to, yeah, look at your butcher blue
They're
shirt
gonna
and go,
report it on
yeah,
Facebook.
yeah, and they're gonna go, "You are a bad person. Look at you.
Report.
How could you wear that kind of thing? Listen to this band, Cannibal Corpse. Oh my gosh, you're insane. They're insane." So yeah, yeah, it's something you got to kind of laugh at, but that's unfortunately a lot of the society, a lot of the people, they're what they think, and I don't get it.
You probably had to laugh a lot along this way.
You have to, I mean, you gotta like, just go, oh man, what's up with people here? What's going on? Why, well, whatever, then they're the ones that have the problem, I guess, and just, you go about your thing and here we are. So
There we go. All right.
yeah.
So the last question I have listed is with being submerged with all this like aggressive music, what is like your yin and yang? There's always like a I don't know, you got to be calm half the day and then pissed off the other day and have a bunch
Right,
of energy.
right. Well, I mean, for if you're talking like musical tastes, or you're
Uh,
talking
no, I'm talking about just
just anything,
personality. Just like
in general. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, I mean, it's pretty, I don't think it's too much of a mystery or anything. A lot of the stuff's out there with how we are, but I mean, I'm just, I love animals, I just love being nature kind of a thing. So, I'm vegetarian. I've been vegetarian for 18 years
I
now. And a
I
lot of,
just started doing that
oh, nice, man.
two
Awesome.
months ago.
Oh, very cool. Hey, very early on. Well, good, good. That's great, man. To each their own. Obviously, I'm not some guy that's going to preach it or anything. I mean, I became a vegetarian because I didn't want to eat animals anymore. I feel all animals deserve to live. And, I became one later in life. I think it was around 30, 35, 36, 37 or so when I became a vegetarian. So, but a lot of people, when they find that out, whoa, how can you be in Cannibal Corpse and you don't eat raw meat? And, so it's just funny.
They have to do some research because
Oh, I know. Oh, I know.
well,
There's a lot of ignorant people that just don't care,
I
and
I was I was ignorant for
of
21
course,
years. I mean, like
sure.
I was I think the biggest issue is you grow up in a household
Yeah.
where
Oh,
that's
yeah.
just the culture.
That's what you do. Oh,
And
that's what of course, that's how I grew up too.
you don't
That's,
you
you
don't
know,
research like
No, when you're young, you don't care. I mean, for you to, when I was your age, I wouldn't even came close to becoming a vegetarian, because I wasn't thinking of that. I was, I'm not, I don't care kind of a thing. And the older I got, I guess, the more I did, and the more I thought about it. And that's why I did it. But you're right. If you're growing up in an environment where, it's just not a big deal, or, right, you eat meat, that's what you do. And that's the way I grew up. So, but, you didn't question it. You didn't even think about it. So, I mean, everyone's different, of course, and it's cool that got to a point where you wanted to, you actually obviously must have thought about it and looked into it and researched it. Where right, last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you weren't doing that. So that's,
yeah,
that's a very cool thing. But yeah, I mean, that's it's a big one for me. And I think we're just all normal guys, right? How we talked about earlier, or how you were saying, everyone's just nice people, and everybody that meets us is always, they're almost shocked that we're in Cannibal Corpse, right? People that aren't really into the music per se, and they know of the band maybe, but then they get to know us and they're like, man, it just doesn't seem to fit, because they're not, they think exactly, if you're in a death metal band listening to heavy metal or playing this kind of music, that you must be some hard person that's just, no feelings, no sensitivity, and
yeah,
all
yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of stuff, right? So Here's a story I always remember in the early days because of the pre-internet and all that kind of stuff, where a lot more was a little more mysterious back in the early 80s and 90s, because you're getting all your information from what, right? You know, like we were talking about, radio, college radios, fanzines, the magazines. So there's not a lot going on. So when we would do interviews in those early days, you'd always get at the end of the interview going, man, you know, when I got this interview, I knew I was going to interview you or whatever. I really had no idea what to expect, you know, but wow, you're a really nice guy, you know. Like they just expect, because right, they're just, you know, they're just thinking you're in Cannibal Corpse, and how can you be a nice guy, you know, how can you be just like, you know, soft spoken and intelligent of sorts or whatever, you know. They didn't get it. We got so many of those at the end of every interview back in those days, so it's you know, it's kind of funny to look back at that. But yeah, so you know, I think yeah, that's the misconception with the outside world, right? That we're just normal people doing normal things, you know, on a daily basis, you know, and then we go and get up there and, you know, write some crazy music, play some crazy music, and you know, it's over and we're back to our so-called you know, normal life or whatever, you know, like
Yeah.
everybody else in the world. So